Okay, so we've done a class on ways of walking. Now we're going to look at ways of talking, and in future we will look at ways of looking. As a writer, I think you very often need these kind of verbs because you need to use a wide variety of vocab, yeah, lots of different phrases and expressions. And so you will need a lot of verbs for talking, walking and looking because that's something that your characters are always doing. So let's start with the inaudible words now, the words that mean that you say something which is really quiet, yeah, where it's difficult for people to hear. And the most obvious one is whisper. Whisper means say something very quietly. And you can whisper something to somebody, you can whisper that, you can whisper something in somebody's ear. We very often hear that. And you very often hear mutter something in someone's ear, murmur something in someone's ear, mumble something in someone's ear, because all of these mean quiet in some kind of way, or certainly whisper and mutter both mean quiet. Yeah, they both mean quiet. But the only difference is that mutter, maybe you are annoyed or embarrassed when you mutter something. A lot of the time you are. And also, you very often mutter something to yourself, yeah? So if you're talking to yourself, then mutter is a really good word to use. And we very often see mutter used with the expression, mutter something under your breath, yeah? Now, this is where you say something, but maybe you don't want everybody to hear, maybe because you're annoyed or embarrassed that they might hear. And so you say something under your breath, yeah? When you say something under your breath, it's quiet, nobody can hear it. So mutter works very well with those two. Mutter something under your breath, mutter something to yourself. Yeah, and you can also mutter an apology, mutter a threat, mutter an expletive. You know, often if you're swearing or cursing somebody or insulting somebody, you might not do it out loud. You might do it under your breath. And so you might mutter an expletive under your breath. An expletive is some kind of swear word. Yeah, and it's because you mutter it under your breath because you're embarrassed to say the swear word out loud. Yeah, so mutter is quiet, but very often to yourself, and very often you are annoyed or embarrassed when you're muttering. Now, murmur is soft and quiet, just like whisper was quiet, yeah? But you murmur, all of these work again. You can murmur an apology, murmur a threat. I probably wouldn't murmur an expletive or a curse, just because here, this is just soft and quiet. It's not to yourself. Mutter is often to yourself. So you can certainly mutter an expletive or a curse to yourself. But normally you murmur an apology or maybe a threat if it's a quiet threat. Yeah, and so this murmur is soft and quiet. But mumble, and I would say there's something about murmur where it may be unclear as well. It may be unclear, but mumble is definitely unclear. And all of these words, jabber, gabble, babble, gibber, are also unclear in various ways. But mumble it's unclear because it's incoherent. Very often it's some kind of nonsense. And another word for nonsense is mumbo jumbo. A lovely binomial there, as you can see, mumbo jumbo. Mumbo jumbo means nonsense, but it's especially some kind of system of beliefs or system of ideas that we refer to as mumbo jumbo. Yeah, so you might refer to the ideas of some writer or artist or philosopher as mumbo jumbo if you think it's a complete and utter nonsense. Yeah, so there's I think a lot of political correctness is mumbo jumbo. It's total nonsense. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And so all of these words, yeah, can mean something which is said which is unclear. And yeah, I wouldn't say mumbo jumbo personally. That sounds a little bit like the same thing altogether. But yeah, mumble is incoherent. You can certainly mumble something incoherently. They collocate very well. Yeah, mumble something incoherently or mumble some nonsense. It collocates very well. Yeah, so mumble is unclear, it's incoherent, and it's soft and quiet. Jabber, gabble, babble, all three of these, I would say I could define with these three words. Unclear, fast. Okay, so mumble wasn't particularly fast, but jabber, gabble and babble are all fast and unclear. Okay, and I want you to notice that babble probably comes from Babylon, yeah, the Tower of Babylon, when God made everybody speak different languages, I think. And so babble's definitely from that. But all three of these mean unclear, fast, and maybe because you're nervous or excited. That's the most likely reason. You're nervous or excited, so you're speaking fast. You're jabbering, you're gabbling, you're babbling on about something. And we very often see those two prepositions together with ways of talking, which we will see in a moment with rabbit on at somebody about something. But you rabbit on about something, you go on about something, bang on about something, waffle on about something. So we've got loads of phrasal verbs of talking where we have on about together. Yeah, so, and when somebody is going on about or gabbling on about or babbling on about something, it sounds as though they're talking for a long time and it's boring. Or here with these three, it does sound incoherent, babbling on about, jabbering on about. It could well be incoherent, but with the on about, it's a long time and perhaps it's boring. Okay, so those three are all pretty similar. Jibber is very similar to these three, but so it's unclear, it's fast, but I'd say it's more hysterical rather than nervous or excited. So it's more extreme than these three. And we certainly have the expression to talk gibberish, which means to talk nonsense. It means something very similar to talk mumbo jumbo. I just think mumbo jumbo is often applied to a system of ideas or to a theory, let's say, something like that. If somebody's theory is complete mumbo jumbo, yeah, it's some kind of system. Whereas talk gibberish can just be exactly what they've said there. Yeah, when somebody is in shock and perhaps really cold because they've been exposed to the weather for a long time, their teeth are chattering, and I want you to notice that we do say chatter with teeth. Their teeth are chattering, which means and they're probably going hysterical. Yeah, they're probably like and we would certainly say that that person is gibbering. That's the picture I want you to see in your head when you think about somebody gibbering, somebody who's in hysterics because they're in so much shock because of the situation. And yeah, if you find people, if you rescue people and they've been exposed to cold weather and they're in shock, maybe they've been in some kind of accident or something like that, you can certainly say when we found them, they were all gibbering wrecks. Yeah, or he was a gibbering wreck, meaning he was talking nonsense, you couldn't understand him, he was hysterical. And there is this fast thing, or certainly gibber can often mean when the jaw is moving quickly. So can those three, to be honest. But yeah, gibber has this hysterical aspect. Okay, and don't forget mumbo jumbo, it's a lot, or gibberish. They're quite common. Okay, so we saw that you can jabber, gabble and babble on about something, which means for a long time, as well as unclear, fast and maybe nervous and excited. But we've got all of these as well. Now the first three, rabbit on about